When you go through separation after a divorce, it is normal to feel an array of emotions. And I want to talk to you about that and help you know that maybe what you're experiencing is normal. But really, I want to help you know you're not alone. And I think that's one of the most important things to know is that what you're experiencing is not unlike anything anybody else has experienced. And I want to walk you through it because sometimes if you know what you're experiencing and what it's like, you can know that there is joy and peace and healing and goodness on the other side as you learn and grow through it. And I'm happy to walk alongside you and talk to you more about that. But first, I want to talk about some of the ways that it's normal to feel after going through separation. And I shared this with a large group of ladies, and all of them validated these things and gave insights as well. So some of that's included here, and I just hope that it makes you feel safe. So let's start. One is to feel like you're dying inside. I'm feeling like I was just dying. I remember telling my mentor, I feel like I'm dying, and it just everything feels like death. And she says to me, yeah, it is. You do feel like you're dying because the world as you knew it, your dreams and hopes and everything is dead. It's dying and it feels like a death. And that is a normal emotion and experience. The second thing is to feel traumatized. Your body is going through a state of shock, a lot, especially if you just never thought this would happen and you're on your own. Maybe you don't have college education, a career, and things like that. And all of a sudden you are left trying to build your life by yourself. Maybe people don't believe you, your church, your family's not supporting you, and it is traumatic. You don't know what is going to happen to you. I remember waking up with panic attacks in the middle of the night, cold sweats, and feeling trauma at an extreme level. I remember my stomach being upset and just feeling very dissociative and hypervigilant. And that is just your body is trying to absorb the shock. So the best thing to do is self-care and gentle on your body. Just sleep, rest, do some yoga, go for a walk, get a hot bath, do something that helps you regulate yourself and to absorb some of that shock. The third thing, sorry, this may sound strange, is feeling joy. You may feel after kind of some of this other traumas that has passed within like 2 months, I started feeling the most joy probably ever felt in my whole life. I just felt like such a relief to be free from the abuse that it was like I understood and felt joy again for the first time in a long time. So it's kind of like Christmas morning where you're experiencing something you've not experienced in a long time. And it is a high euphoric joy of just, wow, I'm free. It is amazing. And that can feel very confusing and just anyway, so that kind of leads me to my next one, and that is mixed emotion. It feels confusing. You feel joy, and then the next moment you feel really guilty and sad. Like maybe you should give him another chance. Maybe you should reconcile. Did you make the right decision? How will my children be? Now you have some grief mixing in. And so you feel like you're kind of maybe all over the place at times. You're confused. You may feel like you're wondering spiritually. It's a very deep spiritual thing to go through a divorce. And a lot of times when we go through trauma, it's natural for our minds to feel distance from God. And especially when our church doesn't understand us, if we're leaving for abuse and our affairs or whatever it is, they sometimes think that you should go and reconcile, but you know your situation and it's just not possible or safe for you and your children. And you begin to think maybe God is against you too. And you begin to think that maybe God has forgotten you. And I want to tell you, he hasn't. He's actually with you and he is able to be with you in that as you wrestle him in the confusion. I remember telling my mentor at one point, I didn't think I wanted to be a Christian anymore. I remember saying that I don't know that I can. I just can't. And she was just pleaded with me. She says, Lauren, no, don't let religious people define who Jesus is to you. Jesus didn't crucify religious leaders. He understands what it's like to be betrayed by those who profess to know God and don't live it. So cling to him. He's going to heal you. And that was a really big turning point for me, is to understand that Jesus understands what it's like to be betrayed by religion, by those who profess to know God and live nothing of it. Then I want to talk about grief, moving through the healing process. As you're moving through it, it's normal to feel grief unexpectedly. It's normal. I remember after a year of coming out of abuse, all of a sudden, I remember grief just hit me really hard. I cried every day for about 6 weeks. It was just like, I couldn't stop crying. I couldn't stop weeping. And it was just a heavy grief. And I thought I was going to be in this forever. And it's just the end of my life. But it's not. It's just a normal part of your process. When your body feels safe, it's finally ready to let that down and stuff is holding in. Then after I felt that, began to feel anger. I actually started to feel anger at what I'd been through. I felt angry at my spouse and angry at those who had not stood by me, things along those lines as well. And that's okay too. Anger is a normal emotion. So I began to pour my heart out to God and allow Him to comfort me in that. And I didn't shove or suppress it. Next thing I'm going to mention is fear. Fear is something that I wrestled with for a very, very, very long time. I would say at least 5 years. It's been a longer part of my journey to heal from, just because I feel like for me, not knowing what my future held and what things look like, I really struggle with fear. And for me, I really overcame fear by learning to trust and lean into God's faithfulness and who He says that I am and who He is and who He will be to me, and learning to trust that. And when somebody has betrayed you, like in a marriage, it's really sometimes hard to trust even God. And so that was a really hard emotion for me to work through. I'm at a place of peace today, and I'm happy to walk alongside you in that. But just want to say that these three emotions, the last three, grief, anger, and fear, kind of tend to still ride with us for a while. Even today, my hair's a little messy because I sat in the rain and cried. Because grief hit me, then anger, and then I don't think fear hit me, but grief and anger hit me over something. And it's been 7.5 years. And sometimes those things just hit us. And we just have to feel them, right? Journal them, pray, ask God to speak truth. And then we process through them and we move on. It's maybe 10, 15 minutes and it's done. And we feel more happy and joyful, and we dealt with that. So those emotions, anger, fear, and grief, can kind of stay with us because it's a long time and it gets worse and less painful each time. But it's a journey, it's a process. It's not something that we just immediately overcome. But there's life again. And I'm wearing a shirt that reminds me of that from a retreat I was just at with Call to Peace Ministries. It says, He will redeem my soul in peace. And God has that for you no matter where you are today. Friend, He loves you.